Hello, everybody. This is a late edition of Grumpy Dave's Garage. I had a little issue with my eye. Someone called it out to me on the film, and I looked at it. I thought, went in the bathroom and turned the light on, looked. It started right there. Now it's clear across. And the wife said, no work on the car until the eye surgeon tells me I'm good to go. And I went over there. She told me the only thing I did was broke a blood vessel. I'm good to go. So we'll be back at it tomorrow. I can understand my wife being a little nervous since I had 7 eye surgeries a year and a half ago to repair and restore my vision. So I'm not going to call her out on any of that. So first thing, I got my phone here I'm looking at. I'm trying to do something here so I can look at you, and I'm going to answer a couple questions real quick since I got nothing else done today. I have, let me turn this phone in the right direction. Here, hang on a second. I'm going to put this thing in a holder. There, that's a lot better. Sorry about that. First question I had, I'm going to get into it here since I got nothing better to do. This distance is almost exact on the MG rear end. It's caused a little controversy. It is. Now, what we're getting into, picture's worth 1,000 words, so I might as well give you a picture. MG brakes. S10. See the difference? Someone says, well, what are you going to do with 5 lugs on the rear and 4 lugs on the front? I'm putting on an adapter to go from the 4 lug to the 5 lug GM, because I'm running GM rally wheels, old school ones, and it'll make those front tires come out to match the alignment for what I'm doing to the rear. Brittany has to have her petticoat straight. She can't be kind of cattywampus or cross-eyed going down the road. We have got, I don't have the lights on in here. I got some brackets to repair. I got some brackets I got to put, well, you're going to see me doing a bunch of cutting and manipulating, and this has to have a spacer for the sway bar. I don't pay attention to my John Deere green pedal assembly for my Bobcat that my son is taking totally apart just because he can, to clean it up and check everything and put it back together. I got to get some more steel. I got stuff to make. I got stuff in the way. I got headers I got to grind the header tubes and then spot check them for any areas that need to be touched up on the welds. I'm trying not to do that too much of that on there. We did get a third one, editing program, which will allow me to go in and any of the grinding and cutting when I'm using the chop saw or everything, the sound level won't go above the level of my voice. So if you're wearing earbuds, headphones, or anything, you won't get blasted when I pull the trigger on a tool. I got called out on that one, and I appreciate the subscriber to tell me about that. I never gave it a second thought because I'm so wrapped up in what I'm doing. It's a one and done deal for me. I shoot them, I watch them, I send them. I don't do much editing to them because they're just shorts. This is what's going on. So what I want to do tomorrow, I might as well give you a heads up on it, is I'm coming out here at 6 o'clock in the morning before it gets too extra hot. I've got some nuts and bolts floating around in my vinegar bath back there, and the stuff that's coming off of them is unbelievable. It looked like I had a wad of tan whipped cream piled in the bowl where all that vinegar ate that stuff off these bolts and the rust and the grease. Let me give you a picture here. I might be able to even show it to you. Get a little extra light. See, it's still bubbling, still working. That had a wad up to almost to the top of that where it foamed up. And I poured it out and rinsed them off a little bit and put some fresh vinegar in there. Now it's by tomorrow. It'll be the 4th day. Now I usually use 3 days, but I forgot they were back there. I'll take them out, clean them in the morning with rubber gloves on. I've got a little brush thing to do with it. I'll take them out here somewhere, probably on my little hose holder. Lay a shop towel down and get the crud off of them. I can wipe off and dry them off. And then I got a pressure sprayer. I'm going to put about a quart of, I'll put a pint or two in there. Lacquer thinner, paint cleaner, and spray them off and get the vinegar off. They'll dry real quick in this weather. And then I can bring them in here. I'll set up the Harbor Freight slow turning. It's the slowest turning drill I've ever bought. I found a lot of good uses for it. Got a soft wire wheel, and I can just literally polish the threads and clean them up and do an inventory on how many of what size I need to replace and which ones that are boogered up to the point I don't want to put them back. I made a mistake. I did not push purchase when I got at the beginning of last week when I had everything lined up. So now I am waiting till this Thursday or Friday to get the parts to hang the rear. So I'm going to be doing a lot of prep work, a lot of grinding. Give me a good chance to test that new editing program for you. What we're doing is I'm hanging this GM rear end on those MG springs and putting them back up in the car. But I'm using the S10 heavier mounts and U-bolts. I ordered 4 new ones. I don't like reusing them. Some people do. Just one of those things, if you're going to go to trouble, do that. And I got the shock mounts post cleaned. I haven't decided on that. You know, it's a lot of little things. Polyurethane bushings go in there. They're already laying in these yellow boxes up there, along with the mount pads for the MG part of the spring setup. So probably tomorrow, there's the 2 dampers. I reached in, folks, and people are going to yell at me for it. I cut the control arms off the dampers. Reason being, the rear end was just hanging in there on the jack. And I wasn't going to get under the car and start jerking that thing around with it totally unbolted, get squatted like a bug. So I sat on the outside of the car, we were safe, reached in there with my cutter, zip cut through both these rods. They're not that expensive to replace. And let the rear end drop down a few inches, and then I just took it out of there. I'll take them out, and I'll take the piece of the cut off rod out and clean them up a little bit. They work really good, and probably put them up for sale shortly. I got a bunch of stuff to do that too, but I don't have time to deal with it yet. because I also have the transmission over here. It's probably going to be sold in about a month or two. It's the 4-speed electric overdrive. I got the shifter, the top plate. There's a broken bolt in that, but it's not that hard to get out. I might try to get it out when I clean the transmission. I don't know. I want to make it grease free before it ships. And I got the matching drive shaft. The drive shaft and that transmission are matched. So whoever gets one gets everything. I got people trying to buy the drive shaft, and I got people trying to buy the shifter. Now, I don't want anything left over. I want a one and done deal. I'm going to build a shipping crate to protect it. I'll take it to whatever carrier you want to have it sent by. I'll deliver it. I'll get the paperwork on it, and I will send you a copy of the paperwork and the date and their pro number, which is their shipping number. And you can contact whoever you'd arranged to have it shipped by and follow your shipment. I don't have time to deal with that stuff. This engine and transmission are going to Jimmy, my fabricator. I don't know what he's doing with them. I could care less. It's stuff that I need to get out of here. Tomorrow I got to pull out the rest of the brake lines, the vent line, the fuel line, and return line for the brakes or something. Yeah, from the gas tank back up to the charcoal filter. Get the rest of those lines out. And then I got bolts on this side and this bracket here to get out for the exhaust pipe. The underneath the car will be seam sealed tomorrow and painted with the undercoating. Spray it on. This weather, in an hour and a half, I can have 2 coats on there and have it dry. Let it cure for a couple days. I'll be ready to, on camera, I'll be assembling the springs with the bushing, show you how I do it. And then I'm going to hang this rear end. Hopefully the parts will get here because I got everything to dress out both ends, right down to the lug nuts and the emergency brake cable. This one's got a twin. I'm only going to put a single brake cable back in, like the old Fords used to have. It was the passenger's rear. It had the brake cable. It's going to be easier to run a cable that way and to do all this twin stuff. It's just something else I got to dodge the exhaust system on. And I got enough stuff to dodge now if you look underneath this car. So that's kind of what we're going with, people. That was a question I had from multiple followers I got and subscribers. It's a bolt-in. And I'm pretty sure what I'm going to do to settle the point that when she's sitting in there, I'm going to grab these old parts and the old U-clamps, which fall right over top of these tubes. It's the exact same size. I am pretty sure that I can get those parts to pop back on this one. Okay? And use the dampers. In fact, let's just see what happens. There's a bunch of crud right there. I smack it down in places crooked, but it's there. And on the bottom, there's no difference. You got your bushing. And you got your MG U-bolts. Goes around the rear end and boing. See what I'm talking about? Well, it'd be this way. And there's a polyurethane bushing you can buy. It goes in here, or the rubber ones. I got the poly bushings up there because I wasn't sure which way I was going. I didn't want to have to start hunting for them or wait for them to arrive. So I got a set up there. So basically, I believe that you can use your dampers with this rear end without too much nonsense. You just have to do what I did to drill and match the spring alignment pins to the rear end. They're inside, they're inboarded a little bit. This one was straight on. This one here, don't ask me why, when I measured it out and crossed it, was off just a touch. But everything I measured was square in the car. So I don't know if that was a factory defect. On the MG, because I literally double, triple checked that before I set the mag drill up, welded a metal plate on here, and went after it with my angular cutter, because right there's a tube. I didn't want to niche into that thing. That's where we're going, people. That's what's going to happen. I appreciate my subscribers following me. Sorry about this delay. There's nothing I can do. I forgot to order this stuff. So there'll be plenty coming on tomorrow. Also, it's a plus because it's so hot. The camera lasts for approximately 21 minutes before it starts letting me know that it's about to shut down for the heat. So I'm going to come out here and do my early morning stuff on camera between 6 and 8. And then I'll start the cutting, the grinding, the cleaning, and all that stuff. And getting the parts list together. Then I'm going to be running errands, picking up all the missing nuts and bolts and parts I need to replace. Like I'm saying, people, I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't push purchase. I'm going to have to tell Zoomy Dog she's going to be demoted from shop foreman to shop helper. But we'll get the body prepped, and I'll get the camera up. You can watch how that's done. We'll assemble everything here on camera. Because see what happens. Once the springs are in, the shackles are up, everything's lined up. When the parts are here, the brake drums, all that stuff goes on, pop it on. I even got new lugs coming. The wheels go on. You can actually see her together. I'm not going to explain what goes on to the shocks because it'd take too long. It's easier to just show you than it is to try to explain it. Just kind of trying to give you a heads up. And to the gentleman who put several people who've put this question in, that's how I'm addressing the issue. And yes, you may be able to use your damper shocks. Let me put the rear end in and put the old parts on it first to see if it'll work. Because if they fall on there, then you know it's good to go and you saw it done. I'm not just telling you something I'm not sure of. I'll actually show you whether it works or not. Because you could unbolt your arms and put the MG material back on after you drill your spring alignment holes, and then bolt it back together with the MG stuff. Now I'm going with the S10 stuff for one reason. One, I'm putting more power in there, and two, this might be a really good MG U-clamp, U-bolt. I'm going with the much heavier ones from General Motors, just for my comfort. And they also fit that stuff over there too. These would work. Heavier, thicker is better in my book for this. People, sorry about everything going wrong. I'll try to get stuff going tomorrow. It'll get interesting again. We're going to be hands-on with the camera doing the actual rear end placement. Then we'll stop and I'll show you the placement of the old parts from the MG to keep your damper shocks if that's the way you want to fly. You can actually see them on the rear end in the car. And then I'll take them off, and when the parts arrive, we'll start hanging the U-clamps. I've got to alter some bump stop pads. Since my U-clamps, this is for the MG size, the S10 ones won't fit in there, so I'm going to have to cut the lip off. They'll be soaked in vinegar and cleaned and wire brushed and primered and painted. Then once the U-clamps are in and everything's bolted in, I'll just smack them on the tube with a hammer. They lock down that tight, and I'll put a tack weld on both sides. Only thing it does is stay in there, so when it comes, if you would hit a chuck holder and bottom out, that it would bang on the rubber mount. It wouldn't allow it to travel too far. So I'm trying to incorporate all the good stuff from the MG and with the American parts to get the maximum benefit. People, I'm going to call it. Sorry about not having much to do. I got to go stick some more eye drops in this stupid eye. It's itching. I'm not allowed to touch it. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, have my coffee, do my computer stuff. I'm always on the computer looking for parts. I found a new supplier. I want to check them out. And then I'm going to come out here and jump on the parts in this thing. And I'll do the video getting the parts lined up and cleaned up and ready to go. And then we'll go under the car and start the rust proofing. So by 10 o'clock we'll have it all done, and I'm going to go shopping for nuts and bolts and other pieces. Like, subscribe. I appreciate you hanging in there, and your comments, keep them coming. I never thought about showing the dampers being used on this rear end, but to the guy who sent that question in, I can't see why they wouldn't. So to see why they do it, I'll just grab the parts and hold them in there, and you can see for yourself. Because, you know, it'd be, a lot of people don't want to change their dampers and stuff. You could use your dampers with the rear end, which means the only thing you got to do is your drive shaft. You'd have to change this. And I am not sure whether the one on the front of the MG pinion gear is the same as the one on the S10. With my luck, it wouldn't be, but it's just the end of a drive shaft. It seems a lot simpler than what some people are doing with theirs. People, like I'm saying, we're out of here. We're done. I hope you enjoy it. We'll get back at it. I got a lot to do in a short period of time, and I'm really behind the 8 ball since I did not order the daggone parts.